Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Grillos' very shiny AftershockXL. I don't know why I'm glowing. I feel like a pregnant woman. We're at my apartment in the studios, in the AftershockXL studios, right next to my bedroom, in Hell's Kitchen, doing another show. And we have a lot of cool things about to happen. But, first I want to always give a shout out to Noah and everybody that helps the show and all the people that make this show possible. There's a long list of people. I don't have to get into it, but we have this little studio here that we're building out. You can rent it. You want to come by and do a podcast studio? It is a sterile studio here at the AftershockXL studios, and
I clean it myself.
Yeah, it's hard. I just been running around. I'm trying to get this show together, get this thing going. First off, we're going to be on iHeartRadio. We're going to be on Stitcher. We're going to be on Apple TV. So, you're going to be able to check us out on all of those platforms real soon, thanks to Noah and all the hard work that he does. But I got a couple of guests here today. We're going to do a quick little show. It's a Friday. You probably won't be watching it on a Friday, but it's a Friday here in Hell's Kitchen. And I got two of my boys. They're both working actors. They're both script writers. They're both producers. They're both written movies before. And you might have seen them on TV shows. You might not have, but they're on them. I got Eddie Crawford and my boy Pat Cooley right here in my living room.
What's up, guys? How's everything going out there? I'd like to give a big shout out, though, first to my boy Mike Shear. It's his birthday today. He's a big giant. If you see him out tonight, give him a big hug.
Yeah, because nobody knows who he is.
Yeah, but they will. Because today's the day. Everyone's watching the show, and now everyone knows who he is.
Eddie and Patrick are both working actors here in New York. They get steady acting work on Blue Bloods, Law and Order. They both have some credentials. It's hard as it's more like they're like in the stable of actors when they know they need someone to come in and play a cop or a psycho or something rather generic. They know that they can lean on you guys to come in and do a great performance. And both of you has written scripts. Both of you, Pat, you've done a movie on your own. And Eddie is working on he's got a script. We're shooting a movie in April. We'll get that into a second. But we'll start off with Pat because I know you the longest. Pat was actually, on one of my first ever podcasts that we did over at Pro Media.
It was the first.
Yeah, it was the first where we did it. Sean Young was on, the very weird and often in trouble Sean Young. Yeah,
she gave us a lot of material to work with that day.
Yes, she did. She gave me a lot of material for my own. She gave me a lot of material for my autobiography. So, guys, move the table in a little closer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Bring it in a little closer to you. It's much better. Show everybody your handsome faces. Yeah. So, Pat, me and Pat, we've discussed this before, but I'm sure there's a lot of new people out there that haven't exactly, heard that podcast 2 years ago. So me and Pat know each other from our club background. We both met each other in 1992 at a very famous club here in New York called Club Expo. And Club Expo was one of the hottest clubs in New York City. Yeah. It was on 43rd between 6th and Broadway at an old theater. So just picture a regular theater. It's got the tiers and the balconies. And they ripped down the stage, and it was just a giant dance floor. And all this, theater type seating, all the way up to the top of the roof. That's where all the really dirty things happened. And
they were up there on a regular every Saturday while he was filming that movie Bullet.
Yeah, so
you remember that?
Pat was a promoter, one of the most prominent promoters in New York. And if anybody knows anything about the New York City nightlife, Pat started off at the Tunnel, one of Peter Gation's. Peter Gation was a famous club owner here in New York, Limelight, Tunnel, infamous place to be. And Pat was one of the big promoters there. And then he came over and did Saturday nights at Club Expo, where I was in charge of the VIP ropes. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I was 19 or 20 years old. I wasn't even allowed to be in the club.
It wasn't even letting me in. It wasn't even letting me into the VIP. At first.
I did Lonnie Hanover, who's famous for Scores. Being the publicist of Scores, who, is the one who got Howard involved in Scores.
Yeah.
And that was technically, because to me, I like to toot my own horn about that, because Lonnie left Expo to go to Scores, and on one condition, that he had carte blanche, he could do whatever the hell he wanted to do, and that actually worked. They agreed to everything he did. So I lived down the block, and Lonnie used to call me up and go, Steve, you got to come down. I was like, Lonnie, I was there 2 nights in a row. I don't want to take advantage. He goes, you're going to piss me off because I just ordered you a filet mignon and it's going to get cold. So I had to run down to Scores and eat a filet mignon and look at beautiful women for the 3rd night in a row.
Yeah,
but
you had to do it. Yeah, it's a rough life,
Steve. Yeah.
Yeah. So I go down to Scores, and of course I get hammered, and then I go to home at 2 o'clock in the morning. I had to get up at like 4:30 to go pick up Howard, and I'd still be half in the bag. And Howard was like, "Are you still drunk?" And I'm like,
smoking blunts with Tupac.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. So Lonnie, so that's how I said, Howard, I was at the best place in the world. The Scores, they're like top models. They were all fucking getting naked. So after a bunch of times, Howard just had to go and see what was going on. So Lonnie Hanover is still to this day one of my really good friends, and one of the best publicists that ever graced New York City. So when he was working there, him and his partner Claire O'Connor, God rest her soul, both of them turned out to be one of my mentors to me, and they were very tight. Claire was very tight with Tupac, so they were in the city shooting a movie called Bullet. Mickey Rourke and Tupac, of course. So
Adrian Brody was in it. Tupac, Mickey. Kind of forget who else, but they all came down to hang out.
Yeah, so they all of a sudden, I tried to turn around, and there's Tupac Shakur and Mickey Rourke, and I'm in charge of the VIP roles. All they did was say, nobody comes in or out unless the owner says yes. Yeah. And I had to make sure, Matty Johnson and Roddy O'Neill, and then if they needed anything, I had to make sure that they were taken care of. Those are my instructions. So, now Tupac's there, and I wasn't exactly a big fan of somebody that had Thug Life tattooed on their stomach. And it was my first lesson in life to never judge a book by its cover.
He never acted like he had the thug life. The guy was probably about as proper as he's more proper than I am.
You want to know why? He was raised by a very good mother. His mother was apparently a wonderful human being. So that was the first time I ever smelt or saw chronic and blunts. So I was sitting there smoking his Bronx barbecue bullshit weed, Prigs and Seed. It wasn't even green. It was like brown. It burnt your esophagus, but it got you high. But and then this just like Tupac's got this designer weed where I never smelt it before. So he was always please and thank you and shook everybody's hand and said what's up to everybody, took pictures with everybody, never saw him be a dick. So
I think I'm still high from that blunt.
Yeah, no shit. So I at some point I got to know him like a little, like he'd always come over and say what's up. I was like, yo, dude, what the fuck are you smoking? I never fucking smoked anything like that. He goes, yo, that's the chronic, yo. What, you want to smoke? I didn't know you got high. So he passed me the blunt, and I got stupid high. And after that, every time the blunt went around, people were like passing around the blunt. He tapped me on the shoulder and made sure that blunt went to me. So it was a really fucking cool experience. But the nightclub life back then was like anything went. You know what I'm saying? You were able to go. People were doing drugs, dancing, having sex, and it was just like it was all good. And so Pat went on to become an actor, and a writer. So what was your first big acting role?
My first big one?
Yeah.
I guess I did a lot of indies in the beginning, a lot of indie movies. I was in I guess the first one that got a decent release was Season of the Hunted. It was I played a serial killer in that like hunted down people and ate them. And, it was kind of the kind of part that you think you want to play in the beginning, but then you realize that there's so much more out there. Like I started doing TV a couple of years later.
What was your first? What was your first big SAG role? What was it?
My first, I guess it was that movie, Season of the Hunted. That was the first.
That's where you got your card?
No. I was in a movie called A Pack in Suburbia and Wannabes before that. Wannabes was with I don't know if you remember That guy that played Jelly in.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Wannabes.
Yeah, Joe Vinarelli.
Yeah.
Joe Vinarelli.
Yeah. Everybody knows him because he has like that coffee cake face. He was fat. He was in the big role was with De Niro in
Joe
and Billy Crystal. Yeah,
Joe
Billy Crystal.
D'Onofrio that played that was in A Bronx Tale and Goodfellas.
Yeah.
He's a good buddy of mine still. He was in it.
He's good.
It was made by this guy Willie DeMail. He does some he does like a lot of New York indies around the way. You know, he's been making his own movies for years now. That was actually where I got my SAG card from, that movie.
He did the Gotti movie.
Right. He played the underboy.
He did the Gotti movie, and he also was Paul Borghese who directed it.
Yeah. John Travolta played Gotti.
It was one of the most horrible movies ever.
It was probably the movie sucked. You know, there was some good acting in it, but it definitely was not the best mob movie I've ever seen for sure. I don't want to say sucked. I don't like to put down people's work. Yeah. I know people things don't always turn out the way you think it's going to turn out when you make it, but it was definitely not the best mob movie I've ever seen. But, one of my favorite parts that Pat did, and a lot of people might actually recognize this, is if anybody has watched the show, Kimmy Schmidt, Pat's one of the guys in the opening that opens up he's one of the guys. Kimmy Schmidt, yeah.
But you were one of the cops in the opening scene. You're one of the cops in the opening scene that opens up the bomb shelter.
Yeah, when they're all locked away. It's funny that you even mentioned that. I almost forgot I was in that. It was a small role, but it was still a lot of fun. I was a huge Tina Fey fan at the time, and I went in there.
She's got a fucking nice ass, bro.
And you're trying not to look, but you're looking.
Yeah. No, I was like, I didn't expect that because we did 30 Rock where I have Bright Shot. We were there. And they basically she was on set and she's tiny, but I was really kind of taken back at the apple bottom that she has.
Yeah. No, she definitely made a great face mask, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, Tina. If you ever watch this. Yeah.
So, and sitting next to you is a very good friend of mine, Eddie Crawford. Eddie's you guys are both in sort of the same pool. Excuse me. You're successful actors and writers, producers, and I met Eddie at our local bar, McCoy's, and he said he was working on a script, and he wanted me to be involved. And I'll tell everybody a little bit about the script.
Yeah, it's called One Wild May, and it's a dark comedy, and it is basically about a young guy a young actor who is frustrated and angry because he lost the gig of his lifetime, and he discovers new meaning for life and love by spending time with a woman who's battling like a chronic illness. But the film starts off with it's going to be the three of us. Steve is a character, Pat and myself. We're three starving actors still trying to make it in New York City as we're approaching 40 years old. We work
well past it.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. What do you mean? I'm not even 30 yet.
Right. Yeah. And it's dark comedy. And we're like, we dress up in Times Square and we take photos with the tourists. That's what we do to pay rent.
I'm out of shape, Thor.
Out of shape, Thor. Yeah. And the three of us kind of got to leave the city. We got to give up the dream, I guess, and head to the next chapter of our life. Or do we? Do we stick it out, and continue down the road of broken dreams? So that's what the film is about. But what spawned it was I was the original host of the game show Cash Cab, and I was fired from getting a DUI. So I lost that gig. And in real life, I was so angry and depressed, I had to move up to my parents' house, the childhood house that I grew up in. I was 32 years old, living in my childhood bedroom, and that's what made me want to write the script. And Grillo, I've been a fan of yours for
Hey,
a
Pat,
while.
Pat, move closer to Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like try to block that light. There you go. That's good.
So
That's
I always
much better.
thought that you would be perfect as a character. And yeah, that was a great night when we met, and I asked you, and you were like, send me the script, I'll read it, and we'll go from there. And I was just really excited that when after you read it, you said, yeah, I'll do it. You know.
Yeah, and then we had the script read at that bar, and I really kind of like that's when it really sort of like made sense. You know what I'm saying? It really played out.
No,
And,
you stole the show. You were hilarious at the Harrow. Yeah, on 10th Avenue. We had a reading, and yeah, the timing was perfect. It's like you were born to play this role, and
I was born to play me. I'm basically playing me.
yeah,
I was born to play
I
it.
mean, you know, even if you're not believable as a character, you are believable as a human. So,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Well, thank God it's you. Or is it?
We're going to start shooting in April. And I couldn't be more happy. We're going to use Bright Light, which I'm so excited.
Bright shot.
We're going to light with Bright Shot, exactly.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
And yeah, we're going to shoot in New York City, and we're going to also shoot in the Hudson Valley, where I grew up in Newburgh, New York. And I can't wait for April. I mean, I'm literally counting the days down because I think I have a pretty cool story, and I'm hoping that it finds an audience after we shoot.
It's funny, and it's just so weird that how I like tend to put people together. Like Patrick, I haven't seen Pat in half a minute, and with all this COVID shit. And so Pat called me the other day, and as I'm thinking about Pat coming to the city, going for drinks, I'm thinking about you really need to meet Eddie. And then Eddie calls me up and he's like, "What are you doing?" I want to go for drinks. And I was like, "I know you got there a little late. Eddie had to leave, but today we finally put you guys together." And it was meant to be. And the funny thing is, the underlying story about One Wild May that Eddie wrote was, about his struggle with Lyme disease. And Patrick also has Lyme disease. So it was kind of meant to be.
You have it for life once you get it. Mine's dormant right now, so thank God.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But you're right, Steve. It really you have an eye, man. You should think about becoming a casting director. Seriously.
I'll do anything.
He's a man of many talents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then
what's funny is when I wrote the script, I had the idea of how tall we would be, and Grillos been signed on for over a year now, and we were looking for our third roommate, because we're all roommates in the film. And when I asked him about you, when he told me about you, I said, "How tall is he?" I just want to know that right away. He's like, he's tall. And then after I met this guy, this guy's like, he could sell snowman
6'4".
to
I'm a big guy.
Yeah, so he's just perfect. I think the chemistry between the three of us is going to
chemistry is one of the most important things in a film. I mean, I know the anticipation of making your first film has got to be intense. I know when I made my first feature a few years ago. It's actually out on Amazon now.
Tell people the name, brother?
It's called Alien versus Zombies. It was actually originally called Joe Alien, but when we sold it, they decided they wanted the names to stick out for the kids in Alien versus Zombies tends to do that a little more. So we accepted that fate. It's doing really well. It's looking forward to reaping the benefits a little bit. But once you actually all that anticipation, all that build up to get that first film out there, and then when you're finally doing it, it's like, oh my God, everything's gonna go wrong, but it doesn't.
Right.
And it it was the chemistry of the actors is what really ends up bringing it together, and it won't be exactly what you think it's gonna be. It'll probably be even better, because you got to remember that everyone else that you bring into it has their own artistic side, and they're gonna bring something to your work that's going to make it even better than you originally imagined it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, well, both of you, Eddie, you go first. What New York shows have you been on that people would say, "Oh, I remember that episode"?
Yeah, I guess I'll just go with the latest. Last season, I was on Blue Bloods. I played Officer Cadet. He's like the precinct cop who has weird lines. He says things like, "Hey, Sarge, just cells are full. Where are you going to put these prisoners?" Things like that. That is the last one that I'm on. Hoping to come back again this season.
What else?
What else have I done in New York? That's it. I think that's of the New York shows. That's it.
What about Pat? What about you?
I've been on. I was on the Blacklist. I played a guy named Nolan that was like kidnapping people and stealing their brains. I got my own brains blown out. I played a terrorist on Blind Spot. I was on that show High Maintenance on HBO. The guy, the pot dealer. It's a fucking hilarious show. Yeah. I was on Show Me a Hero with this David Simon. He created that. Same guy who created The Wire. Paul Haggis was directing. It was great show. I was on like 5 episodes of that.
Paul Haggis, is that Crash?
Yeah. He won a couple
He's
Oscars.
awesome.
Yeah. No, like everyone on the show is like from Winona Ryder to like everybody on the show is like the guy Oscar Isaac that I had all my scenes with. He won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Limited Series for it.
And he was in Star Wars.
What's that?
And he was in Star Wars.
Star Wars?
Me?
Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, he was. He played the jet fighter in Star Wars. Right.
No, he played one of the main characters. Yeah, Eddie was in Star Wars. He was Stormtrooper number 13.
Yeah.
I would, I wouldn't even mind being a stormtrooper for Star Wars.
I would kill. My friend Red.
I was gonna play Yoda, but like they said, I was too tall.
Yeah.
You know what show's going to be hot? You know what show's going to be hot in New York that actors like us are going to want to get on is Eddie Burns' new show, Bridge and Tunnel. That's on the Epics, and that I think personally is going to be dope. And I think every New York actor is going to want to get on that show, especially if you play like blue collar types.
Yeah. So Eddie, lean forward towards the camera.
Oh yeah.
Lean forward. All right. Now Pat. Now you lean towards the camera. Eddie, you go back. So everybody remember their faces because they're going to be on every goddamn New York City show.
There you go.
Anybody got anything to plug?
Yeah. Besides acting, I actually want to give a shout out to this new bar that I've been bartending at called Rolling Greens in Belmore. Fucking great people. It's almost like going to like your own little comedy show when you go there. Everyone just busting balls and like everyone's like it would be like it's got its own little Cheers kind of thing going on. I'd like to get maybe another day we'll get into like some of the dirtier aspects of it. Hot bartender named Kim Gregg. She's the one who got me the job over there. I'll skip the fun stories with her right now, but she's a hot little number and she's awesome and got me a job over there. Just want to say thank you for that.
Don't shit where you eat, Patrick.
No. Yeah, and even if I did, I think her and I would probably be too drunk to remember it anyway. So
there you go. And Eddie, what about you?
Yeah. I'm gonna plug my Instagram handle at Feature Film One Wild May. Any New York actors out there? I have like 38 to 40 small roles in the film, 1 or 2 lines here or there, and I'm gonna have like an open call. So follow me at Feature Film One Wild May Instagram and look for the open call casting coming late winter, early spring, and maybe I'll see you on set.
Oh yeah, one more thing, Steve. Everybody out there, if you got Amazon Prime, check out it's my first feature film I ever made, Alien versus Zombies. It's worth your time, especially if you're a zombie fan. You should definitely check it out.
There's a definitely big thing out there for zombies and aliens, and I hope everybody checks it out. Yeah. I want to thank Noah for all the hard work and everybody over at Bright Shot and their new air purifying system that's going to change everything. Roy McDonald and everybody else that helps me out.
Roy.
So, and also, Grillovator at Instagram, Steve Gorilla on Twitter. Want to thank you two guys, you two fucking jerk offs for coming up and doing the show. And I love you both. So everybody, I'll detailing more of the filming, come April, and stay tuned for that. And everybody, just nice little short, sweet show to give you guys something to do kill some time. Check out what's going on in the scene. And that's about it, man. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to everybody later.
Thanks, Steve.
Later, guys.